The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to Filmjitsu, the podcast that wields films like deadly weapons. We're your hosts. I am Jay.
And I am Mike.
On this episode of Filmjitsu, Mike is subjected to over 90 minutes of slow-motion hair-blowing, gauzy, soft-focus photography, and what may be the most expensive Skinemax movie ever accidentally released to theaters, 1984's Bolero. Inspired by this exercise in pretentious sleaze, we'll follow Mike's review by counting down our bottom 5 sleazy art films, those beautifully shot disasters where directors attempted to disguise pure exploitation behind tasteful lighting, exotic locations, and frequently dull monologues. After that, we'll once again enter the arena for a game of Dueling Double Bills before Mike unveils the next film he'll be forcing me to endure for our next episode. But before all that, let's roll the trailer for the film that Roger Ebert once summarized by saying, "Let's face it, nobody is going to Bolero for the plot anyway. They're going for the good parts." Yeah, it's 1984's Bolero.
Once in a great while, a film comes along that is as provocative and controversial as the people who make it.
Bolero. Bo Derek is the adventurous young woman who leaves her world behind and sets out to lose her innocence.
Beautiful word, ecstasy.
A discovery in the meaning of desire.
It has to be warm and sultry and dark-eyed when you give your virginity away. I want it. Hey!
But she learns there are many sides to love.
You witch!
Enough!
Now I kill you, I have to kill you! Shut up! Don't do this to me.
The film that's created all the controversy. Bo Derek. Bolero. So daring, we can only show you where the ecstasy begins.
Mike, there are certain movies that become infamous because they fail. And then there are movies like Bolero that become infamous because they fail while simultaneously believing themselves to be breathtakingly profound. This is a film that arrived in 1984 carrying all the trappings of prestige cinema. Exotic international locations, lush cinematography, orchestral music. But underneath all that is essentially a movie about Bo Derek wandering the globe in search of the perfect lover, while John Derek, her husband, points a camera at her like a man trying to get his wife to be centerfold of Playboy magazine. This movie fascinates me not because I think it's good, dear God, no, but because it represents a very specific moment in Hollywood where erotic dramas could still masquerade as serious art films if you lit them beautifully enough and then set them against enough sunsets. So, Mike, before we get into the bullfighters, the sheiks, race cars, and enough slow-motion beach walking to power an entire decade of late-night cable television, my first question is this. Did Bolero strike you as genuinely misguided attempt at high art, or did it feel more like John Derek knew exactly what kind of movie he was making the entire time?
I would say the answer is neither to both, because my experience with Bolero was not really the same as the movie you've been describing.
Oh.
Because you really described a movie that was sort of pretentious and arty and all that sort of stuff. I found this movie to be very, very lighthearted.
It is.
I didn't think this was a film that was taking itself especially serious. And so I don't know if I had maybe the wrong impression of its reputation, or I thought I was getting one kind of thing. This isn't really like a sun-drenched romantic drama. It's actually very light, which makes it all the more confusing, really, because in some ways it is like this big globe-trotting film. It reminded me in some ways distantly of like out of Africa in terms of its like scope of what it was trying to capture in the world.
Sure.
But it's mostly about Bo Derek trying to like lose her virginity. And a movie about Bo Derek trying to lose her virginity should be 11 seconds long, right? It's like, hey, I'm Bo Derek. Does anybody want to take my virginity?
End credits.
Everybody says yes, and the movie is over. And that's not what we get here. And so we almost have this like farce of a film where this absolutely stunning Bo Derek is sort of like haplessly making her way across the world, not having sex until she finally does. And so it's a weird thing. Like the movie is not nearly as self-serious. As a matter of fact, I think when we get to our bottom 5, that is almost completely divorced from the movie that I saw.
I think that there is a seriousness to the production.
Yeah,
and I think
for
that
sure.
there's a seriousness to the overall scope of this ridiculous film. But you're right when you talk about the sort of lighthearted, almost silliness of what's going on in the acting and with the treatment of this story. I agree with you, actually.
I can tell that the movie is trying to be a comedy, but I'm not quite sure how, because it isn't full of jokes. There aren't punchlines.
Right.
There aren't funny moments even per se, right? There's no set pieces that I would say like, oh, this, the funny bathroom scene or whatever it is. I couldn't right now tick off scenes from this movie that I would say like, oh, these are the funny bits, but it is very lighthearted, almost as if Bo Derek is just having a goof.
Yeah.
It's like she knows she's Bo Derek. And it's like this weird challenge for her to go through the world pretending that she isn't, as if it would be difficult for somebody like Bo Derek to bed a lover, right? And so the movie spends almost no time getting Bo Derek naked, like right away. Opening sequence, she graduates from what I assume is her boarding school, and then she tears off all her clothes and like flashes the teachers and the fellow students and the dean or whatever, and then fucks off out of there with George Kennedy, who... I love George Kennedy. I think he's a great actor.
Yeah.
What is his job here, Jay?
I couldn't quite figure it out. He's like a chauffeur, but he's also a little bit more than that. He's kind of like a father figure mentor.
He's like her Alfred. Yeah. It's like,
Gee, he really is.
He's just supposed to wingman Bo Derek on her like transcontinental sex tourism adventure. And I can't figure out why he's doing it at all, but he's
clearly somebody had something on George Kennedy.
Maybe. I mean,
my God, why is he involved in this film?
Oh, I mean, I understand. You mean George Kennedy, the actor? Because he's getting paid to see Bo Derek naked all the time. That's why he's in the movie. There's no mystery there. I'm talking about this character of the chauffeur. Like, what is this guy's deal?
He's earnestly acting in this film. He does
very good.
Solid job.
Yeah,
And that's something that I'm going to say really surprised the shit out of me when watching this movie, is because this movie's notoriously bad.
Yes.
I mean, this is, as you said in our last episode, this is one of those ones that we've kind of kept in the pen. And now we're letting it pitch a few innings, and it is a terrible film, but it's weird that so much of it isn't terrible. And I think that one of the things that surprised the hell out of me was that Bo Derek actually isn't that bad. That George Kennedy, of course, he's not that bad, but Bo Derek isn't that bad. It's the fucking screenplay that is
this screenplay's terrible.
Insane.
Yeah, I think this is really where the dog dies. It's the script. It's almost impossible to know what's happening one scene to the next. I've watched a lot of bad movies that don't make a lot of sense. I can keep up with some serious rubbish, but this movie really put me through my paces. There's a scene where Bo Derek is giving a bath to a completely naked teenager, and then in the next moment, they're on some random mountain with George Kennedy getting chased by a bull. And then the next thing I know, they're blazed out in an opium den. And these are like back-to-back sequences. I was like, what's going on in this movie? I don't know. And broadly, it is Bo Derek trying to find a lover. And so she starts with this big idea that she wants it to be some Arabian sheik to whisk her off to his tent in the desert and make love to her. What she ends up finding is the most lily white motherfucker you've ever seen.
He like went to Oxford to be like a poet or something, didn't he?
Oh yeah. He's the most Caucasian character a movie has ever contained. And he's supposed to be a sheik. Like if there was a 50-year-old box of Old English tea this guy would look like the person on the box. Like that's how white this guy is, right? Like this guy playing a sheik is like you in a movie playing James Earl Jones. It's ludicrous. And so, and so this is, I think, supposed to be played for laughs because they have this big romantic getaway and she offers herself to him and they take her into the tent. And honest to God, I don't know how you managed to make a movie where eating honey off a naked Bo Derek is gross, but it was gross.
It's mixed with milk, isn't it? Like
I don't know.
It looks like melted wax. Like it looks like somebody's melting.
It's so unsexy.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who is eating honey off the naked chest of Bo Derek. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, this is Nirvana. Yeah.
Right. And yet I was like, this is gross. Are we done with this yet?
I think that's what encapsulates the failure of this film and what I was really going for in part with my bottom 5. There's a lot of pretense, I think, in the making of this film and in the art of this film. In the way that it portrays sexuality, it does it under a pretense of art. So while it might not be as self-serious as maybe I thought before I watched it, it is definitely taking its making and the eroticism and everything seriously. But it's fucking inept.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's the right way to break it down because I didn't come away from this feeling like this movie was supposed to be titillating.
Oh, it definitely was.
No, I feel like the director thought he was making like a serious movie.
Well, he thought it was important. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it didn't come across to me as like a sleazy film from his perspective. I think he thought he was making kind of a romantic farce of a film. And so I think that this guy kind of like bought his own bullshit. And so it didn't play to me like a Skinamax movie.
Oh, no. Yes, it does.
It didn't to me.
I mean, it's not a Zalman King one, but there's so much grinding and so much softcore and so much soft lighting and so much. It definitely sets the precedent for all of that. I completely disagree with you there. I mean, that is all there. It has tongue firmly in cheek when it comes to the silliness of the idea.
I think maybe that's what I'm saying. Like Bo Derek as the character, she was like, it was like watching an episode of Third Rock from the Sun where Bo Derek is an alien trying to figure out what sex is from context clues. And I genuinely had no idea why they made the movie this way.
Well, I'll tell you what, okay, that Third Rock from the Sun reference and that whole idea, that what you just said about Bo Derek being an alien that's trying to figure out sex is Emmanuel in Space, which was a Skinamax show. So, I mean, like, brother, you are speaking the language of Skinamax. This movie was definitely that. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
I had a different experience with it.
It might not have been artfully pretentious in the way that maybe we set it up that way, but it's definitely a predecessor of that whole scene.
For me, it felt different. It felt to me like this director didn't realize what kind of movie he was making. Like, if you asked him, did you make a skin flick? I think he would say no. And I don't think he knew he was making a skin flick. Like,
well, but that's the beauty of it. What these filmmakers reveal about themselves by making the movies that they make, right? That's one of the things. So I think that there's a lot that John Derek is saying here. And I think Bo Derek actually takes a lot of the blame for the failure of this film, where really it's all pretty much attributed to
writer-director
John Derek. Yeah,
for
right.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I completely agree with you there. Yeah.
Uncle Fred said the Bolero was the most descriptive sex music ever written. And he proved it.
What the actual fuck is this self-own that they put in this film where they refer to Bolero? Like,
it's so weird.
Bo Derek's biggest film was 10.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that 10 is so memorable is because of its use of Ravel's Bolero in the film during a love scene. Yeah. Right?
You refer to the song in the film I'm like, what? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It's like if you took The Departed, right? With Mark Wahlberg and you were like, okay, we could call it The Departed. But Mark Wahlberg was in one of those Transformers movies. So this movie about like Boston crime, we're going to call this one Optimus Prime. You're like, what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's like the viewer has to know all of this like film trivia shit to make sense of the title of the film.
It doesn't make it. Well, you shouldn't know, and it shouldn't refer back to the movie 10. Like it shouldn't, but it does.
Yeah. So Bo Derek finally beds this bullfighter, right? She makes it to Spain. And somewhere along the way, she picks up like an orphan gypsy girl who now is just along for the adventure. I don't know like how that happened, but she is.
Was that Olivia Debeau? That was. Yeah. And so she's like notoriously very, very young, but featured fully naked in the film. Like that is deeply weird too. That is another very odd thing about John Derek.
This Paloma character, it felt strangely kind of European to me, where she's just nude sometimes around other people in a way that Americans wouldn't be comfortable with. But she was like, well, we're all just in a sauna together, you know? And so like the adult characters are in the sauna and the 14-year-old is in the sauna, and the camera never really leered at her exactly. Would I prefer there was not a naked 14-year-old in a movie? Absolutely, full stop. Don't get me wrong. But I didn't find this particular element of the movie as like shockingly in poor taste as something like Blame It on Rio. But it's almost so inconsequential as not to be an important part of the conversation for me, really.
That's interesting. Huh.
But what we do get instead is, and you mentioned it, and this is where it really does cross the line into like the movie that was made, whether he was trying to or not. By the time Bo Derek beds this bullfighter, we have a scene that has to have set a world record for the longest simulated humping in cinema history. Right? It goes on for so long that there is a brief intermission and they come back to the humping. There's this enormous orchestral bombast through the whole thing.
Yeah.
It is honestly on par with the sex scenes from The Room.
It really is. And you know who wrote the score to it is the father-son combo of Elmer Bernstein in Peter Bernstein. We're talking the Elmer Bernstein, he who has composed over 150 scores, everything from The Magnificent Seven to Cape Fear to Ghostbusters to Stripes to Animal House. Like this guy, he's the guy that turned orchestral comedy scores into a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here he is doing fucking 10 and giving it his all for those love scenes. He's the one that did the love scenes. His son did the remainder of like that really cello-based score. So hilarious that you draw that out there because holy shit, it is overdone.
It's so wild and it's good and it would make sense in a different movie. It just doesn't make sense in this movie.
No, but that's the way everything is here. The shooting, the costume, the production design, some of the acting, everything just doesn't belong here with all of these protracted love scenes that I don't entirely mind because it's Bo Derek and friends.
Sure. Well, we get a scene where she has given herself to the bullfighter. And I thought like, well, isn't that the end of the movie? I thought the whole point was that she was trying to get laid. She did. And now there's like a whole third of the movie left. I was like, oh, because what happens instead. Like this isn't this the end of Superbad? Like we've all had a fucking yuck and a tug and now we got to get out of here. Right. But no, we got a third of the movie left because this guy gets his junk sliced up in a bullfight.
Yeah.
And we spend the rest of the film with Bo Derek learning to bullfight as some sort of means of like rehabbing his wiener confidence.
Yeah.
And the whole thing culminates in the goofiest 5 minutes of sex in the clouds and strobe lights you could possibly imagine.
Xanadu wishes it was this fucked.
Unbelievable. It's so wild. It's like, it's almost like it wanted us to have some sort of like magical realism where they had found like the ecstasy that they were seeking. I was like, are they just trying to like film what an orgasm is supposed to be like?
I think that was exactly what he was shooting for, was what is the visual? How do we visually represent an orgasm?
Right. Strobe lights in a fog machine.
I mean, is he wrong?
No, I don't know. It depends on the day. Some movies are infamous for their nude scenes. This one is more remarkable for the few scenes where everybody is fully dressed. Like, that's the part that really jumps out at me. The nude scenes, they are what they are. Bo Derek is obviously beautiful. It is hilarious when she rides a horse fully naked to show her bullfighter boyfriend that she has learned to fight bulls, so he should probably just get over his wiener trauma and give it a whirl, I guess, is what this movie's doing. I don't know. I really don't know. The whole thing was wild.
Do you know that the movie was so bad that the distribution deal that Canon, so this is a Canon film, by the way, right?
Yes,
this is
right.
a Golan and Globus production.
Mm-hmm.
And this film somehow was so bad that it soured the deal with MGM chief Frank Yablans, who hated it so much because of in part because it's a terrible movie, number one, but number two, because it had an X rating problem. They had to release it unrated, and then it made some money back. It sort of covered its production budget, but it didn't cover marketing costs or anything. So it was kind of a loss, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, that is unbelievable. A movie so bad that it sinks a contract with a distributor.
Of all the movies that Canon made, can you imagine this being the one that fucked it up? Like, wow. Whoa. That's impressive. My takeaway, you referenced Roger Ebert's review.
Yeah.
I think my takeaway was also Roger's takeaway, which is that the real future of Bolero is in home cassette rentals, where your fast forward and instant replay controls will supply the editing job the movie so desperately needs.
It's notorious for a reason. I think at the end of the day, that's the thing about this movie is whether it's pretentious or not, whether it's self-serious or not, whether it's silly or not, whatever you might take away from it, it's ineptly made so it has a good home at Filmjitsu.
There are a million forgettable sleaze films, no doubt about that. There's something about Bolero that has made it continue to live on these worst of the worst lists for all time, and I think that can't be overlooked.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mike, there's a reason I came up with bottom 5 sleazy art films to pair with Bolero, and I think that it didn't require a hell of a lot of explanation.
Right.
But my picks for this list do go a little deeper than Bo Derek, John Derek, Sherry Moon Zombie, Rob Zombie, School of Non-Humble Brag cinema.
Right.
So all of these movies that I chose had reputations as sort of beautifully shot smut. Many of them I discovered as a budding adolescent who was far more interested in art house, well-lit, carefully composed, sensual imagery than anything approaching harder pornography. So that's me being personal. Being raised on late night Showtime and Cinemax fare like Private Lessons and Class, I genuinely thought adulthood was basically older women seducing younger men. And honestly, I was fully on board with that worldview as long as it was in soft lighting and everyone looked flawless.
Right.
But as my taste in film evolved alongside my dream of becoming a filmmaker, I discovered this sort of strange subgenre of stylized smut that barely even tried to hide its tawdriness, directed by people like Jess Franco and Tinto Brass and Valerian Baruchzik. Some of these made my list alongside more legitimate art house fare, which critics praised for social commentary and thematic resonance. But if I'm being honest, teenage Jason mostly watched them because there was a whole lot of female nudity involved.
You don't say.
Because at the end of the day, I was a budding filmmaker, but I was also a budding teenager with premium cable and almost no parental supervision.
This is where you live and breathe. We are walking into your ballpark. Like, when I step up to the plate and I look at the banners hanging up, right? It's just your face on all of them. Like, so much so that I almost considered ceding my 5 picks to you and just being like, do 10. Knowing that I am so outmatched here when it comes to a conversation about sleaze cinema, I decided to maybe take a little bit of a different approach.
Yeah.
So for this bottom 5, I went with films maybe more that have one reputation, but I think are actually maybe pretty sleazy when you stop and think about it. So this is a little less Skinamax and a little bit more like, this is sketchier than you might think, right?
Okay.
With that in mind, my number 5 is in the 5 spot because I'm not convinced that the film is trying to be art, but it is definitely trying to be something serious and it's always just felt sleazy to me. You can dress it up any way you want, but 1990s Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore has always felt like a weird voyeuristic sleaze film to me.
Oh.
I know this is going to be one of those generation things, right? It wants to be this deeply romantic drama, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But a dead guy literally watching his girlfriend shower and sleep and grieve and date other people, it's always felt a little lurid to me. This might be one of those things where 2026 audiences have a very different opinion about what passes as romantic than a lot of the late 80s and early 90s audiences did. We've debated this before. You and I are kind of on other sides of a generational divide on this particular thing.
There is a thin line between romance and stalking, right? Like, it's like, well, you've done all these wonderful things and you put this big effort in. And then the other side of it's like, yo, that's way too much that's going on right here.
And that's how Ghost has always read for me. But Oscar nominations and Oscar victories don't mean that it isn't still kind of sleazy when you get right down to how horny it is and what it's horny about. And so for me, I have always seen Ghost as been a dressed up sleaze film.
Good Lord. I can't disagree with you more.
I knew you wouldn't.
It's such an earnest love story about somebody who's got to let go of life, and he's watching over his girlfriend because he knows that something crooked happened and that she is in danger. He's not watching over her in a leering sort of way in any way, shape, or form. And this is just insane. You're making him sound like Kevin Bacon in the Invisible Man movie, The Hollow Man, that was directed by Verhoeven. You know, that you're making him sound like that. He's not like that at all. Like, Mike, this is a completely wrong read on Ghost. I'm sorry. Wow. That's it's that's always Filmjitsu.
Well, and that's kind of the way I thought about this bottom five, right? Is like a movie where you would have somebody who would take a very firm opinion like yours.
Yes.
And I see it a little bit differently.
Okay. You know what? That's a cool way to read this bottom five. I love it. My number 5 is 1992's The Lover. Jane March was an early 90s crush of mine. And while this Jean-Jacques Annaud film was based on the autobiographical work of novelist and filmmaker Marguerite Duras, it presents itself as highbrow cinema, but let's be serious here. Much like my reasons for watching the Bruce Willis erotic thriller Color of Night, I watched this because I got to see Jane March naked. And for 15-year-old Santo, that was an after midnight snack that turned me into a sex gremlin.
Yeah.
Why is there not a movie called Sex Gremlin?
You don't know that there's not. Hold on.
Why is there not one that's directed by like Fred Olen Ray starring Linnea Quigley? We need a movie called Sex Gremlin.
Yeah.
Back to The Lover. Let's be honest. This movie is Dullsville. Sure, it's directed by an Oscar-winning filmmaker behind Quest of Fire and The Name of the Rose and The Bear. And yes, it's gorgeously photographed by cinematographer Robert Fraisse, whose resume includes Ronin, The Notebook, and Hotel Rwanda.
Oh.
More on this guy later, okay? But come on. A film about an affair between a teenage girl and a wealthy Chinese man in 1929 colonial Indochina?
Yeah.
I wasn't there for the moral unease of a family trading away their daughter for gifts from a wealthy property owner while his father threatens to disinherit him. It was like if Trump fell in love with a much younger woman on Epstein's Island and...
Whoops.
Oh.
And then everybody voted for it twice? Yeah, cool.
Anyway, this film earned major award nominations, including an Oscar nod for Fraisse's cinematography. But for teenage me, the only thing holding my attention was Jane March's complete lack of bashfulness and its pretense to even suppose anyone else who watched this wasn't there for the same reason, because we're all just a bunch of goddamn sex gremlins. Number 5, The Lover from 1992.
We got a long way to go. I want to be clear that this isn't here because it's a bad film.
Okay.
Far from it.
Okay.
My number 4 is from an excellent film, but it's here because it's viewed as one of our great American films, and it is. Peter Bogdanovich's 1971 classic, The Last Picture Show, is a poetic portrait of a dying small-town America, lost innocence and changing American culture. It has powerful performances from Jeff Bridges and Timothy Bottoms and Sybil Shepherd and Cloris Leachman and Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
8 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, 2 Oscar wins for the supporting roles. But I think that all that competence disguises the fact that ultimately this is a sleazy movie built on infidelity and sadness and people doing bad things to each other. Even the nostalgia is kind of dirty. Like, this town isn't losing its innocence. It already lost it years ago, and now everybody's just pretending that sex is the same thing as connection. The Last Picture Show gets called a coming-of-age masterpiece, and it is. But it's also like this sleazy little hookup drama that just happens to be so well made that you don't even notice it.
It's Peyton Place, but it's this ridiculously perfectly composed film that's so good that you sort of forget what it's really about.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that is a perfect read on this bottom 5. I love you so much, Merrigan. I'm going to move on from this pick because it's brilliant and just jump into my number 4, which is the most obvious pick of my bottom 5, Immoral Tales from 1974. Look at you. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about, right?
You could be making these up and I wouldn't have any idea.
This was released the same year I was born, okay? And it's a French production, because of course it is, from a Polish filmmaker who I mentioned earlier, Valerian Boruczek, a genius who also happened to be a pornographer. Like The Lover, this thing is occasionally masterfully composed, with Boruczek collaborating with multiple cinematographers while also taking on camera duties of his own. It's a collection of erotic vignettes drenched in lush production design, elaborate costuming, poetic narration, and all sorts of faux intellectual prestige. But Mike, it's also dirty as fuck. You've got yearning over church organ pipes, cucumbers, Christ imagery, and a retelling of the Countess Bathory legend.
Oh, no.
Featuring famed jewelry designer Paloma Picasso.
Oh, no.
The daughter of Pablo Picasso. Bathing in the blood of virgins, which they use like 30 gallons of real pig's blood for.
Why would you need to do that?
This is some shit right here.
That's not even like, that doesn't even make sense for your budget. Like, that can't be the most affordable way to do that.
So yes, there's thematic depth here, but it also constantly feels like Boruczek is challenging himself to be as explicit as humanly possible while stopping just shy of actual penetration. That became his whole career lane. Unfortunately, by the end of his career, he basically abandoned any remaining artifice and went full smut factory with films like Emmanuel 5. And somehow that still wasn't the end of that series, by the way. It would go on for 2 more installments. But anyway, Immoral Tales ends up being more pretentious than titillating, losing itself at endless rumination about the nature of sex and life and death. And oh, who gives a shit? It's full of boobs and bums and bush. And it's 100% the only reason anyone still even knows it exists. So at number 4, Immoral Tales from 1974.
Wow. My number 3 is not going to be that, but I don't think this is going to be a popular pick. This is a film that has one reputation, but I think is actually just kind of sleazy. Everybody remembers Grease as this sweet, colorful, nostalgic high school musical, sock hops and leather jackets and fast cars and summer love and catchy songs, but this movie is about 2 kids trying to sexually and socially reinvent themselves inside this horny Rydell High ecosystem just to get each other's attention. The whole movie is about the sexual currency of teenagers. And Danny Zuko is a fucking creep, full stop. Sandy is a victim of both him and the dirtbag social politics of this sleazebag high school.
Yeah.
We act like it's all cool because the soundtrack slaps, but I think it's all kind of sad and depressing. And so to me, it's certainly not the film that it's pretending to be or that we would like to remember it as, or the sort of thing where it makes sense to do like community productions of it in like a fun mother's bring your daughter kind of way, because the whole thing is sleazy to me. And I that's just the way it's always read.
I get it. No, and I'm not going to argue with you on that one at all. I think you're right. I think that's a good read on it. I think there's a lot of that in filmmaking and in American filmmaking in general, right? Where we just kind of smooth over the rougher edges of what we're talking about. And we're not really paying any attention to the damage that could be done by relaying this message.
Yeah.
And this movie carries a pretty fucked up message across the board. When she comes out as all leather clad and she's changed her whole personality to appease a man, that is no good.
The things that happen to her in this movie are the kind of things that would get you brought up on charges now. Like, for sure.
We're going to return to a huge degree of nudity against pretense with my number 3, The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover from 1989.
Right. I know this one.
This is more, I would say, ugly smut art house cinema. But I must have watched it at least 20 times just to see Helen Mirren wearing a see-through Jean-Paul Gaultier bra while given head in a restaurant bathroom. The movie itself isn't remotely interested in traditional titillation. For me, it occupies the same uncomfortable space as David Cronenberg's Crash, that weird area where a movie is so disturbing that you start wondering if you're okay for finding parts of it erotic.
Right, yeah.
Visually, though, it's extraordinary. The lighting and color palettes are as bold and vivid as anything in Dario Argento's Suspiria. Directed by British director Peter Greenaway, the man behind films like Prospero's Books and 8.5 Women, it's shot, of course, by a French cinematographer named Sacha Vierny, whose incredible painterly compositions and slow, measured camera moves define its memorable aesthetic. But eventually, the movie completely loses me. By the time Gangster Spica, played by the OG Dumbledore, actor Michael Gambon, is literally eating the penis of a cooked corpse, I'm checked out.
Whoop. Nope, that's it.
The weird-ass plot becomes even more grating than Michael Nyman's intentionally repetitive satirical score. I can't deal with this movie, Mike. It is not okay.
Yeah, this is a not okay movie.
Nigh unwatchable for me. The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover.
Good pick. Well, my number 2 was received in a cultural moment where it earned an Academy Award, but in the year since American Beauty was released, its reputation has shifted pretty universally towards sleaze.
Yeah.
The movie hit right at that angsty 1999 period where it seemed like it had something to say about suburban loneliness and corporate alienation.
Right.
We were in kind of a culturally anxious period, but I think at that time, Lester Burnham seemed like a tragic everyman and less like the whiny, entitled sleaze that character actually is. A guy who spends the entire movie seducing a high school student, whether he goes through with it or not, is an absolute sleaze. And I think the passage of time has exposed that American Beauty doesn't have much else on its mind. The plastic bag floating in the wind is such a metaphor for how empty this film is. Like, that's exactly the kind of thing that an art house film would try to show to a mainstream audience to make it feel like it had something to say. And it doesn't. It's just sleazy and gross, despite all its art house window dressing. And so for me, American Beauty was a pretty solid number 2 on this list.
This is probably the best pick out of all 10 that we're going to talk about tonight. This movie always struck me as so up its own ass.
Yep.
And so believing in its own baby boomer sort of bullshit.
Yeah.
I actively hate this movie.
Yeah. Well, and I think everybody does at this point. That's kind of the thing about it.
Well, yeah, but I did back then, too. That's the thing. Like, I love Thomas Newman's score.
Sure.
When he did American Beauty, he sort of broke into the mainstream and really captured people. But goddamn it, why a shitty movie like that?
I think in a lot of ways, this movie was sort of like introducing kind of art house sensibilities to a mainstream audience.
Oh, no. It was done just before this. It was done by the Crying Game.
Oh, okay.
Crying Game was Nirvana to cinema.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And oh my fucking God, what a piece of shit that is.
No, I know you hate it.
We're not going to go there tonight. My number 2 is nowhere near as good, but it is what it is. And that's Lady Chatterley's Lover from 1981. The collaborations between director Just Jakin and Sylvia Christel, they could honestly just fill their own bottom 5 list. But this Canon Films production, and obviously then it's a cousin to our main review in that regard, it may well be the crown jewel of magnificently dull trash art cinema. As the guy who helmed the original Emmanuel, as well as the Tawny Katane starring freak fest called The Perils of Gwendolyn in the Land of the Yik Yak. Believe you me, you're going to watch that someday. Lady Chatterley is loaded with Jakin's trademark softcore, dreamy compositions. And he always has this like melancholic harpsichord heavy score work. It's always there. But visually, yeah, it's genuinely beautiful. So you got to ask, why is it terrible? Well, it's not because Sylvia Christel spends half the runtime naked and writhing around in melodramatic ecstasy. The real problem is that the other half of the movie expects us to care about Lady Chatterley's emotional conflict between her gamekeeper lover and her wounded aristocratic husband. The whole thing is overacted, it's sluggish, and hilariously ham-fisted, which probably explains why D.H. Lawrence's novel has been adapted repeatedly ever since this version bored audiences back in the early 80s. That said, the imagery is incredible. And once again, we have cinematographer Robert Frace behind the camera, coating everything in gauzy, sensual loveliness. Turns out the lover wasn't a fluke. Frace also shot Story of O, The French Woman, both of which were for Just Jakin, and Emmanuel 2. So clearly our man had found his professional calling. Mm-hmm. Good heavens, Lady Chatterley's Lover is my number 2.
I'm unacquainted, it turns out. I'm unacquainted.
You need to dig deeper into the smut. I think we need to do more of this on this show.
Well, I agree to disagree. Let's keep going. I'm pretty pleased with myself here on my number 1 pick. It's maybe the ultimate example of what you asked me to do here, right? An art film that is actually just sleaze. My pick for number 1, it's not a film. It's a film within a film.
Oh.
I am going with Brock Lander's Angels Live in My Town. The film that Jack Horner, Burt Reynolds, is making in Boogie Nights. When he wants to take porn mainstream and he doesn't want people to just fast forward to the good parts.
Exactly.
And so he tries to make like a James Bond-esque porno with Dirk Diggler and Reed Rothschild, and there are guns and espionage and dialogue, but also fucking, and he's got this like kind of big grand idea that he can be the one, Jack Horner can be the one to take porn mainstream. And so he puts out the Brock Landers series, and this of course is Brock Landers Angels Live in My Town.
It's basically Pirates, that super budget porn movie that came out that was supposed to legitimize porn, but everybody was just like, they're still fucking
That's
in
porn.
it.
Yeah,
So
like, right.
It's porn. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right. So, and I love this because he's so serious and he's so passionate about it. And this is a film that I love. I know you and I maybe feel a little differently about this.
No. I like this film. I like this film. I think that it's fascinating that Reynolds had such a problem with playing this part.
Yeah.
And it ended up being such a great role for him.
I can't imagine anybody else playing the character.
Wait a minute. You come into my house, my party, to tell me about the future. That the future is tape, videotape, and not film. It is amateurs and not professionals. I'm a filmmaker. That's why I will never make a movie on videotape.
As always, my number one is going to be predictable. But I will say this, Mike, you're probably going to want to watch it after I talk about it.
Okay.
It's Room in Rome from 2010. I've spent this whole list talking about the French, but now it's finally time to talk about the true perverts of Europe. And entering the chat is the Spanish.
Are you sure you want to go down that road right now? You're married to a Spanish woman. She's got an entire family in Spain.
Well, technically, this is the Basque, a autonomous county in northern Spain.
Okay.
And they wouldn't necessarily call themselves Spanish, so they're in Spain, but they're not.
So the next time you visit Spain with your family, nobody's going to drag you into a dark room and beat you with a phone book for this.
I'm not saying they won't, but I'm not saying I wouldn't enjoy it.
Okay. All right.
Room in Rome is basically the movie I wanted every early 90s erotic film to be. Okay. It's so committed to the male gaze that it almost removes men from the equation entirely, focusing instead on two beautiful women exploring each other sexually in a hotel room in Rome while remaining naked for, I would say, approximately 70% of the runtime. Actresses Elena Anaya and Natasha Yarovenko do their absolute best with painfully overwritten dialogue and a deeply male idealized fantasy of lesbian intimacy. But let's be honest, this movie exists almost entirely to linger on gorgeous women kissing, moaning, showering, and rolling around in soft lighting. And somehow, it's still boring.
Oh.
Do you understand the level of cinematic horseshittery required for me to become bored watching beautiful women hooking up for nearly 2 straight hours?
Yeah, that's something.
And then the third act completely flies off the rails. One of the women catches feelings, stares at a Cupid painting up on this bathroom ceiling, imagines herself being struck by a love arrow, and metaphorically bleeds out in a bathtub.
Oh.
But hey, it's art. Or at least it really wants you to think it is. So, and my number one, Room in Rome.
Well, Jay, I don't know about you, but I feel a little gross. If you have stuck with us this long, thank you. If you are our future generations, we apologize. We weren't really like this all the time, but today we kind of were. So
Mike wasn't always like this, but honestly, future generations, I was always like this. Mike, it's that time of the show where we go ahead and compete in the arena of cinematic battle. I am here with my steampunk random movie generator machine, and it's going to spit out 2 titles, and we're going to have to make a double feature, or a double bill, as we like to call it. This is Dueling Double Bills. Let's get started. I'm going to start up the machine. I'm cranking things.
I think we ought to think about hooking the random movie generator up to some solar panels, because with the price of gas, we're not going to be able to keep this thing going for a whole lot longer.
No, this is steam.
Oh.
This is steam.
Okay, all right.
Man alive. Come on. This is the future. It just requires a tremendous amount of elbow grease. Okay, here we go. And our first film is 9.5 weeks.
Oh, boy.
Holy hand grenades. And for our second film, we're going to go ahead, pull things down. Mike, I'm pulling. I'm yanking.
You got it.
Mike, it's Crash. David Cronenberg.
Great. Crash Cronenberg.
So our two movies for this evening are 9.5 Weeks and Crash, David Cronenberg's car crash movie. This is the one that I saw in a movie theater alone in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And was deeply, deeply concerned about my own mental well-being.
I still think maybe one of the funniest things on our show ever was you talking about having seen
Amityville
yes,
Horror.
It was Amityville. It was your mother taking you to see Amityville when you were like 4. And just me just being like, I can't even believe you're in the world. Like it was, I had like a full on like meltdown about you seeing Amityville at 4
You
years
were
old.
genuinely concerned.
It was so funny.
You wanted to suddenly parent me, and I could
it was
tell
so funny.
It was very real. Well, sir, I'm going to ask you to call out your first double bill, which is paired with 9.5 Weeks. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I almost felt like I was just going to take a knee here, right, on this one because...
No way.
Well, because I know that this is your wheelhouse, right? So I'm going to come up with something, and you're going to come up with something better, and we're going to give you the points for this. That's how it's going to work. Because I didn't have a lot to offer here. I have very vague recollections of 9.5 Weeks, right? Mickey Rourke and Kim Basinger, right?
Oh, I have vivid ones.
I know you do, right? And she works as like in a museum or something, or an art gallery, or I don't remember exactly.
She's a professional woman.
Okay.
He's kind of a sleaze.
Yeah.
She falls for him. They make out in front of a refrigerator where he pours honey all over her.
That again?
In a much more erotic way than in Bolero.
It would have to be. It would have to be. So for me, 9.5 Weeks. I'm just going to throw a fastball right down the middle. I decided 9.5 Weeks and Fatal Attraction.
You've got Adrian Lyne and Adrian Lyne.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're going for a director double feature.
Yeah. Although
I don't think that would have its attractors.
I don't know that his name would be the thing necessarily, but I think the films pair together well. And so.
Well, they do.
That's that.
I mean, you've got dangerous eroticism.
Yeah.
I followed the same pattern that you did.
Okay.
But I went with a different film because I thought that the danger here was going to be different. In one film, Mickey Rourke is the danger, which is 9.5 Weeks. In my second film, Angel Heart.
Oh, okay.
Mickey Rourke is actually the hero in the sympathetic character. So you have two erotic films, one by Alan Parker, one by Adrian Lyne. They both have a glossy eroticism to them, but it's also a sort of nasty, dirty eroticism that I think pairs really, really well. But one has Rourke as a hero, one has Rourke as the baddie, and I think that works nicely.
Right? See? Like I told you. Point Santo. That's it.
All right.
I like
what did you do for Crash? What did you do for Crash?
Okay, this one actually I took a pit stop with Quentin Tarantino's
no pun intended.
Death Proof.
Oh shit!
That's where I started.
You didn't stop there?
Well, hold on. Because then I thought about a dueling double bill. I'm always literally thinking about the experience of being in this audience, right? And so
I don't know.
I was thinking a little bit more simply that film goers, they love their Cronenberg. And so it made more sense to me to want to just do people will come out for Cronenberg, right? So I was like, okay, just do a Cronenberg double feature like Crash and Videodrome, and people are going to come out for David Cronenberg. They always do.
Okay, all right.
But I pulled a U-turn here, and I came back around to Death Proof, and this is where I landed, is on Death Proof.
Oh
because
my God.
I do think that Cronenberg and Tarantino, they're both auteurs. They have these films, there's a little bit of kinship there between the eroticism of the car wrecks and all that kind of thing. They pair nicely together in kind of like a dirty grindhouse way. So
they do.
I think that's it for me. I'm going with Crash and Death Proof for this one.
I may have went up to here. Crash is a film by an auteur, Cronenberg. But his 80s compatriot is Carpenter, and he made a fantastic car film, Christine.
Yeah.
They're both about passion and ownership, jealousy, and all of these ugly feelings that we have.
Yeah.
And they're all attached to cars.
Right.
Even the two sounding so similar.
Yeah.
Crash, Christine.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Would I show up? Yeah. I'd be there buying a ticket.
Yeah, you know that if you are using something from a Stephen King property, you've already won me over, right? You know that. You know that.
I suppose so.
So this is the rare circle takes the square, I think. Here, you got 2 points on this one, buddy, because I'm giving it to you.
This never happens.
As much as I like Crash and Death Proof, I do think Crash and Christine is solid.
Now, if you were to add Death Proof as a third film,
yeah, right?
It would be a great night at the cinema.
And for me, with the first one, like 9.5 weeks in Fatal Attraction, that I wouldn't use that for like a double bill. That to me is like if I was programming like a USA Up All Night. Like that's like late night TV smut. You know what I mean? Like that would work better there for me. So if that were the format, I would fight harder for that pairing. But given that this is Dueling Double Bill, I'm giving them both to you.
It might be that I just structured this whole episode to own you.
Yeah.
Because that's what Filmjitsu really is.
You built it around your strengths.
There's going to be an action episode that's coming up soon where I'm going to have to watch something like Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be fucking lost.
I look forward to that. It's not going to be next week. Buddy, spring is in the air. Right? It's springtime. Yeah. The birds are singing. The leaves are coming back on the trees. I was in shorts and a t-shirt today.
You would be in shorts and a t-shirt when it's 30 degrees outside, Mr. New England.
Listen, we had a rough winter, didn't we? We had a historic blizzard. Like it was
rough.
Miserably cold. It's time for us to settle in to this season of rebirth.
I'm not going to lie. You're terrifying me right now.
Yeah, because I thought, well, I don't want Santo to enjoy himself just yet.
Oh, you motherfucker.
And so for next week,
I gave you Bo Derek.
I would like you to watch a film that was really quite popular. Big smash hit on Netflix.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's spring, but I'm not ready to let you out of winter just yet. Because for our upcoming episode, you're going to be watching Hot Frosty.
What the fuck is Hot Frosty?
How do you not know what Hot Frosty is?
I have no idea.
You have no idea what Hot Frosty is. You missed a cultural moment.
Of course I did. I'm old as fuck.
Just trust me on this one then.
Are you shitting me?
No.
You're making this up.
I'm not. Starring Lacey Chambert, Who
is Lacey Chambert?
She's the girl in all of the Hallmark movies. In this one, she brings a snowman to life. And his innocence helps her heal and find love again. When she brings the snowman to life, he's not wearing a shirt. And he's one handsome hunk of meat.
Oh, Hot Frosty.
This is not a Hallmark movie, but it's the closest we've ever come.
Motherfucker.
And for our bottom 5, we're going to keep it simple, but it's going to be, there's so much room to run here. Let's just do our bottom 5 hotties.
So people that are hot that we don't think are hot?
I'm thinking more of like Natasha Henstridge in Species.
Oh, like hotties that murder people.
Or like Regina George in Mean Girl. Like, the pretty girl, like...
Terrible people that are hot.
Yeah, like the people who wield their hotness.
Terrible things
whatever.
That are hot.
Do with that what you will.
Oh my God.
And I want you to just... I know it's getting nice outside, Jay, but I want you to cozy up under a blanket, make yourself some cocoa. It's holiday romance time, baby, right here in the beginning of spring, just for you.
You wanted to pull me back into winter?
Yeah, one more fucking week of this New England winter.
Oh, you bastard.
And so, you're going to watch Hot Frosty. We're going to do our bottom 5 hotties.
Oh, fuck you very much, Marigan. Wow. That is some shit. Well, all right. I mean, I'm game as always. You can't break my will. You can only destroy my soul. So it is what it is, and I'm going to watch Hot Frosty and report back on our next episode. But until then, we have been your hosts. I am Jay.
And I am Mike.
And we will see you next time.
Stop 18, хочу zацykate, wierzbać czusate i sate. Karate, niech oczudok zadnie mi kiaj, zostanę i zadzie.
You're kind of downplaying. You're like the Jekyll and Hyde of horniness, really. Like you're barely safe. You are just the reason we don't do this in person is because I need the distance of these screens between us to feel like I am safe around you. Because when we get talking about this stuff, I feel like we need to chain you to the wall while the moon's out. Jason Santo, sex werewolf.